Hey everybody, Brooke McLean here with Corey Olson and Wendy Hoflick to talk about a very unpopular subject around the village right now, and we completely understand the sensitivity that goes along with this, but we do need to speak with you a little bit and explain some rationale for why we're having the upcoming service fee increases that we have projected. We released a memo about 2 weeks ago that specifically went to villages 5 and 6 about projected increases, but the price increases are going to be across the board for all of the village. I would tell you first off that AFEV is not in financial trouble. We have seen some pressures that have come as a result of inflation and some other decreases in donations that have come along, but we are successful. We have enough money, but we are barely getting by, to be honest with you. Our margins are very, very tight, and it doesn't leave us a lot of options as we look to the future. So our focus has not changed. We're still caring for widows of retired Air Force enlisted members, surviving spouses, and retired couples. We're not going to get away from that. We still want to be that unique community that offers a safe, secure place for people to live at a reasonable price that most of us would be able to afford. It is a unique thing, though. You don't see this in other communities across the United States, and I'm sure if you've looked around, you know that senior living is a very, very expensive option for people, and we have a unique opportunity to be able to help people live in a senior community like we have at a price that's very reasonable. So we're very sensitive to that. We know that everybody here is living off a fixed income. We want to make sure that we're doing the right things. So just a little bit of history. In the fall of 2022, our board of directors came together, and at the time the stock market was not doing well. Our donations continued to drop, and the board asked us to study the pricing that we have for the Air Force Enlisted Village. And the intent of that was to take less of the donations that come in that support the day-to-day operations and to shift those so that we're taking care of the widows, number one priority, and then have the village be self-sufficient without relying on the large donations that we do every year. And just to put this in context, every year we go through and we do a budget cycle, and as part of that budget cycle, we project about $2 million a year in donations that come in. We know from experience and from steady, constant sources that we raise about about $1 million total in that effort that come from direct sources. And then we have about $1 million that come from estate gifts. We don't know where an estate gift is going to come from when we do that. So every year when we do our budget process, we're kind of rolling the dice on how much we're going to receive. We're projecting that we're going to receive an estate gift, but that doesn't always take place. So the board really wanted to be able to have the more consistent budget approach to where we didn't rely on an unknown donation that's going to come in that is typically about $1 million. And so as a result of this, we did our price study, we presented this to the board. The board looked at it, the board approved the pricing that we have been discussing with you as we move forward on that. And again, the intent of this is to not rely as heavily on donations as we have in the past. And then if we do get that large estate gift that comes in, we're able to apply that in very specific ways around the campus. Perhaps it would speed up our window replacement project or do other capital improvements that we need to be able to complete on the campus. Those should be those items that we do when a large estate gift comes in. We should not be relying on that as a source of income for us as we move forward. So we've made some difficult decisions about how we want to move forward, how we want to project these to come on, and we know that it's not going to be easy for everyone.
Thanks, Brooke. As Brooke kind of said up front, our goal is we wish we never had to raise anybody's rent, and it'd be great if everybody could live here for free. But in the fiscal environment that we're in, obviously we cannot do that. And so the letter that he referenced earlier Obviously, we talked about at great length during resident council last week, and I realize not everybody who's watching this was at resident council, but as you'd expect, it was a very spirited discussion, which it should be, right? Because we never want to ask for more money from anybody than we need to. But the focus of that resident council meeting was on villages 5 and 6 and up to a 10% increase in monthly rents. That is what we expect to have happen. That has not been finalized yet, but we expect it to be around 10%. And then during that same conversation, the discussion was, well, what happens to villages 1 through 4? Right now, we expect that it'll be 5% for villages 1 through 4. We don't expect it to go any higher than that because obviously in a perfect world, we want to take best care of those folks, and whether that's in 1 through 4 or 5 and 6. But the disparity between 5 and 6 and 1 through 4 is why you're seeing the bigger number being applied. Now, historically, typically we try to raise rents only 3 to 5%, but Brooke hit on a lot of the reasons why we have to go higher than that this time. But what I will offer to you, we do not anticipate going into the future that we will need to have another 10% increase anytime in the near future. Is there a guarantee in that? No, but we certainly don't see that based on the economic factors that we see going forward. So that's kind of where we're at when you think about the rents where we're at today, and more to follow into the future.
Now I'd like to ask Wendy to make a couple comments. She, as our CFO, has a great deal of information about the costs of running the village, along with some donation information.
Thank you, Brooke. To touch on a little bit more detail of what Brooke talked about earlier, donations have gone down. The Air Force Assistance Fund for the last 4 years have decreased 329%, where back in 2021 we got almost $1 million. This year we got just over $200,000. Now, while if you look at our financials, you will see donations at kind of a big number. But what you have to remember is a lot of that's come in has been restricted to what we can use it for. Some examples of that was the $2 million we got from the state of Florida for the purchase of the Victory Village property, the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation. We did get one restricted large estate gift. And unfortunately, though, we cannot only use those funds for those specific purposes, not general operating costs, which is where we're seeing our big increases. Just to touch on that briefly, in the last 4 years, our salary expense has gone up approximately 30%. Our insurance has gone up almost 80%. And our repairs and maintenance on our beautiful facilities has gone up almost 40%. So we're seeing quite a bit of increase in our costs, and our donations are going down, which is what's bringing all of this to fruition.
So we've made some difficult decisions. Again, these are board decisions that the management team is moving forward on. I would tell you there's perhaps a perception that Village 7 is the cause of some of these increases, and I would tell you that Village 7 actually makes the Air Force Enlisted Village stronger because every apartment that we have makes a little bit of money. So the more apartments that we add, the more money that we make. And so it actually does not impact this at all. And so again, I know that there's a perception that's out there that people think that this is what the case is, but Village 7 actually makes us stronger. We look to the future. Again, as Corey mentioned, we don't anticipate this being a year-over-year type of thing. We're trying to come into line with the study that was conducted that showed us the price increases that we needed to make to be able to have the money we need for today, plus the money that we need to reinvest so that the village is here in the future and we're able to have a community like this for the future generations. People in the past have paid forward to be able to create this beautiful campus that we have. And right now we're at a point where we are all paying to not only live here today, but to make sure that the residents of the future have a place to live. So we thank you for your understanding. We know that there's more questions. This is not going to be the only communication that you get from us. We'll talk with you, we'll share with you. The board will be here for their meeting at the end of October. You're more than welcome to talk with them as well so that you can have confidence that the decision was not made lightly and that at the end of the day, this is the right thing for the organization and for our community going forward. So thank you for your time. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you around the campus. Thank you.
you.